All right, it is 6 p.m. here where I am living, and welcome to the Hermit with Wi-Fi, and it is our live stream. I don't see anybody yet, but that's okay. We're going to get started. If you're watching the replay, they keep telling me to remind people if you're watching the replay, hi, sorry you missed us live. All right, so what's going on? Today is July 6th. I went to work. I came back a little early because that was my work schedule today. Tomorrow I have to drive back and I have to go to that urgent care that I did not want to go to because I don't trust the doctor, because safe and effective, and we can have this talk all day long. And I have to pick up the results. They called me on the 4th and they told me what the results were. And basically, my leg is soup. Okay. They said, you have 4 or 5, hi Linda, you have 4 or 5 different things going on your leg, some of which are drug resistant, some of which aren't. They want to strap me back down to a table and do it all over again, like they did when I was in a second world country in Florida, at a second world hospital in Florida, twice. Now, I've got to say that I understand that the venous insufficiency in my legs is definitely going to cause the skin to thin, and therefore any type of garden variety infection could take root. Question is, this wasn't supposed to happen until I was 60, 65. Okay, because we knew I had damaged my legs earlier. So, what do you think sped up the entire process of a cardiothoracic embolism, possible clots in my legs, and then venous insufficiency? Give you a hint. Safe and effective. Kerry bites back, apparently. Work's been okay. They let me work at the front desk, which was kind of interesting. Because I used to want to own a bed and breakfast, so that was fun. And I'm going to work in reservations, not tomorrow, the next day. Tomorrow I have to go to, again, the urgent care, get my paperwork because they can't mail it to me. They can't digitally send it to me. And then I'm just going to stop at a grocery store, pick up the few things I need. That's it. I am going to treat this, excuse me, I'm going to treat this like a hurricane evacuation. I haven't done an evac drill in a while, so it's probably time. So at 7 a.m., I'm going to set the timer and do an evac drill. And even if I have to sit here for an hour before traffic wanders by, at least I know that I can do it in 20 minutes. That's important. Let's see what else. Bodie's fine. He's right here. He just finished eating, so he's probably going to sleep for a while. Other than that, what else is going on? Nothing. The weather it's been rainy, then sunny, then rainy, then sunny. I did look around. I put my periscope up. World is still getting dumb. World is still getting bad. I'm trying to figure out how to get away from it as fast as I can. Just a lot of people yelling and screaming, and I just can't see where it's going to help me, or you, or Bodie, or anything else. So I'm just not sure. Campground was full this weekend, if that makes anybody happy. It was 95% capacity. So 95% of 410, you do the math. You can figure it out. But today, everybody left, so now it's empty, but it'll be busy in the weekend again. I hope you had a good 4th of July. It was a little noisy here because you're not allowed to do fireworks on the property, but the KOA next door, different rules apply. And if you're on the National Seashore, which is Park Service down that way, well, that becomes them to manage that. All we can do is just go, you can't do that in a national park. And if the Park Service rolls up and gets you, well, then they roll up and get you. Next thing I've got to do is find health insurance for me, because I have a funny feeling that when the doctor said, look, you really got to see an infectious disease doc, they're not going to strap me to a table again. They're not going to do it again, because when they did it before and they did it again, it didn't help. So why are we going to do it a third time or a fifth time or a 27th time? We're not going to do that. We're going to find our way out of this. Still looking for work. Probably September-ish. I'm not sure where I'm going. I've got a couple calls in for a couple things. And, I think that as the weather changes, I'm trying to head more toward Florida. Unless some company wants me and they want to drag me back to New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, then we can have a talk. But it's going to cost an awful lot of money. And I realize I'm going to be exchanging money for time. Because if I go there and I get a salary like they're expecting, my life expectancy drops very, very, very quickly. So, and it's really going to be stress. It's going to be the stress of dealing with people, the stress of dealing with their structures, the stress of dealing with their whatever. And I really do not want to have my aorta rupture or get an aneurysm in my brain. But I also know that if I go back, it's not going to be back for long. So that's important. What? Sneezies. What else? I haven't spoken to many of my friends or family. I'm guessing it's the holiday, right? I'm sure that they're all running sideways. When there's a holiday, we have to work more, and then we have to work less, and I get it. And we'll all connect at the end of that. And I still have to eat dinner, but Bodhi ate dinner because we have to feed Bodhi. So I know we only have one watcher, but we have any questions? Because this is going to be the 10-minute live stream, apparently, because that's all the news I have fit to print. The weather is a little overcast. It's raining. It's windy. I have to drive tomorrow, which is nice, but you get it. Any questions? Bodhi, they don't have a lot of questions. What's the other thing we have to do? Oh, we've got to call the mobile groomer for his nails. These things are claws, and I can't trim them. He doesn't let me. So the mobile groomer, if they can give him a bath and do his nails, fantastic. I'm good to go with that. I hope you have success with your leg. Me too, because only one of two things happens. It gets better or the leg comes off. And there's nothing that can be said about that. Stop it. There's nothing that can be said about that, right? We don't know where I picked this up, because most of the stuff they are telling me it's in the report is stuff in the air. It's everywhere. It's just, no matter how clean I keep myself or my space or anything else, my skin is not able to deal with this. So skin infections are more common. Again, I expected this at 60, 65. I expected wounds care around that time. Like my mom had to have, but she had diabetes type 2. But 56 is a little ahead of time. So like I said, you poison yourself for the person you love, and these are the downstream effects. Can't complain. I can't yell. I chose to do it. Now I have to deal with the results. Hopefully I can go home to her and she can go, oh my God, and we can work through it, but I don't think it's ever going to go away. All right, it is 10 minutes in. Bodie, do you have anything else to say? Bodie says no. So I'll wrap it up the right way because we're going to keep this a short live stream. If you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will. Thank you, Mom. Are they like-minded? Do they share your values? Do they have something to offer? Can they use discernment when new data comes in? Or no, out they go. Too late. Can't do this anymore. It's too late. Okay, there are plenty of people out there, as we keep talking about. Some are supposed to be there, most of which aren't, and they want what you have. And they think they deserve it instead of earn it. They don't. Be ready to go over the barriers to the will to act to preserve your family and what you have earned. Ladies, if you have to go out, please go out as a group. Please keep your trips really short and sweet. Mind your children and keep your head out of your phone. Gentlemen, the exact same thing. Short and sweet. Essentials, not luxuries. And go as fast as you can. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, please take some form of protection that is personal to you. And what that means to you is what that means to you. Again, they don't like you out there. They want to hurt you. And they want to take what you have. And they don't care about you or your kids or your car or your whatever. Protect yourself. Protect that which you love. Defend it, because at some point in time, it's really going to matter. So get your practice in now. Other than that, it is 6:11 p.m. I'm going to turn off this live stream because we don't have anybody else. And that's okay. As we have more people, we'll have more questions, we'll have more conversation, but we still have to do it at least once a week because we have to start growing somewhere. All right? Thanks, guys. Bye.